Kiyoshi Taylor here with the Global Forum with my friend Cesar Mejia.
Yeah.
Got it right.
Yeah.
And you're my second guest, so we're gonna.
Thank you very much for having me. Second guest.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
And today we're gonna be talking about safe space.
Okay.
So, the concept of a safe space has been flooding colleges across America, growing in popularity,
Right.
and it's an environment where everyone comes to feel safe. They don't feel endangered. They don't feel threatened. They can't. It's a place where they can't get triggered.
Mm.
But there's also a lot of controversy surrounding this topic because people are saying, "Oh, people are just too soft." You know, that's just a snowflake generation.
Okay.
So, what I really want to break down, the main question today is: are we really making a better world by doing this, like a more united world, or are we just kind of hiding from our problems and ignoring how cruel the real world is?
Well, the way how I see that right there, that question is, I think it starts off by wanting us to feel safe with, how like the world right now is full of terrorism, full of hatred, bigotry, and all that. Safe spaces was probably first created to like make sure students are able to feel safe within their schools, away from home, away from protection of their home. However, I feel like it's been shifting into it's being over or wrongly used. It's starting to become like an excuse for people to back down from from confronting the real world.
So, are we hiding or are we protecting, basically?
At first, it was meant to be for protection, but like I said, it's being converted into a reason to hide from it.
Now, part of the safe space is it's a place where you can't get triggered.
Hmm.
And a trigger is, something that you say it or you do it, and it immediately
It gets under their skin.
yeah,
type deal.
they get offended.
Right,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but is that like is that a good thing? Like a place where you can go and not get triggered, or
I mean, yeah, like if we are always surrounded by like different actions that kind of that gets under our skin, I mean, yeah, if you want to have a moment of tranquility, a moment of not having to worry about what other people think about you, yeah, maybe you can go to the safe space and kind of collect yourself, kind of.
but you're saying it's become more.
Yeah,
It went from a place of an escape to a place where you just go and kind of blind yourself from how the world really is.
What I'm trying to say is you're not going there to blind yourself to like just kind of shut it off. It's just a place where you can reflect and like know or think of what you can do if that situation ever comes up again. That's the way how I would envision people using safe space.
But that's not how you see them using it now.
No, not right now. I mean, you see, if one person says one word wrong, there's this big outcry of like, oh, they're trying to say this, trying to say that, but they're not actually trying to figure out what the person's trying to mean.
So it's kind of an anti-debate in a way.
Yeah.
It doesn't this safe space where you're supposedly coming in to have a conversation where everyone's equal. That conversation's not happening.
Yeah, it's like a cheat code in the real world, you can say.
Yeah.
Instead of wanting to go at it, it was like, you know what, I'm gonna skip this level. I'm gonna skip this conversation. Skip trying to project what I'm trying to like what we're seeing.
So part of this, part of the backlash is coming from people who are calling our generation the snowflake generation.
Okay.
And but they kind of have a point if you think about it, because
Yeah.
there's all these we're so easily triggered, but that leads me to my next question. Should we even have like trigger warnings? Because in some schools, like when we read The Kite Runner,
Right.
for example, we went to the same high school, and we read The Kite Runner. They had a trigger warning for one scene, or when we would watch, or one chapter, and we would watch Holocaust videos, and
Mhm.
there are trigger warnings. But now it seems like schools are using this trigger warning a lot. So is a trigger warning a good thing for schools? Are we protecting them, or are we
Well, in the
overusing
example
them?
of school, I would say that trigger warning should be used for certain things. Like you said, the cut runner, it was mostly because of a rape scene. And in high school, we don't know what each student has gone through, you know. Maybe one student has gone through rape. And if they don't want to hear that, if they don't want to hear people talking about it, then yeah, I feel that's when a trigger warning should be issued. Or even at war, you know, sometimes they do show us the cold reality, the gore that happened, the faces of the soldiers that are scared for their life. I feel like that should be one reason for it to be used. But if it's used for like offensive words or real people saying real things, they shouldn't be there shouldn't be any trigger warnings for those.
So I'm gonna use a Holocaust example. We there you watch documentaries in school,
Right.
you know, throughout high school, throughout college. I've watched documentaries in classes,
Hmm.
and they always, in the very beginning of the documentary, they they tell us about you know, some of the things we might see. They tell us, you know, basically giving us a trigger warning. You know,
Mhm.
like you might get triggered because because it was gruesome stuff. But they they do it for the whole thing. It's not like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, when like okay, here comes a part where if you don't want to, you know, stare at a whole bunch of dead people, which is
Mhm.
I feel understandable, you know, look away. But they do it at the beginning now,
Yeah.
like closing your eyes to like almost a whole documentary. It's like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, if for documentaries, I mean, that's the cold truth. They can't really try to sugarcoat it because documentary it's educational. It's supposed to inform the people what they're gonna see technically, and I think that what you're trying to refer is like the viewer discretion advice screen. That's something different. That's just telling them that there is possibilities of things happening, but you have the option to see it because it's a documentary, it's a movie. However, in classes, you have to learn it for the material. You have to learn it to advance, to actually know your past.
there I'm going to take us a little bit back now
Mhm.
because like I said, we're considered the snowflake generation.
Mhm.
We're the generation where everyone got a trophy. And I know we didn't win many trophies, so we kind of like, you know, we need them for our mantle, but like
Mhm.
what is that damaging in a way?
Uh,
Because people are saying, you know, this generation is soft. It
Mhm.
doesn't quite, you know, it doesn't know the toughness of the real world. And then, you know, we go out and we all get a trophy.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I think that participation trophies are actually damaging us because we're expecting to always be rewarded for doing something. If we do it wrong, if you play a sport, if you do the wrong play, you end up losing, you still get a participation trophy. So what are you going to learn from there? You're going to learn that, oh, if I do a mistake, it doesn't matter because I'll end up being rewarded. And that's what we need to stop. We need to actually reward the people who did their hardest and actually ended up being on top, while those who didn't, they just have to view it as a learning mechanism to improve themselves, to kind of get better at it, and that's how the world can progress, and how people won't have to reference us as like the snowflake generation.
But would you agree our generation wants stuff like, you know, people calling us the snowflake generation also are the ones saying this generation doesn't want to work for anything. You know, they just want stuff handed to it.
Yeah.
Like, do you agree with that? Because you know, that's part of the big controversy over healthcare. People are like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, we didn't, you know, work, if you want to afford healthcare, you know, work to afford healthcare.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, because like during the past, during like World War One, World War Two, there were people trying. They were trying to progress. They didn't have the technology that we have now. The method of life, the way that we have everything kind of handed to us. We have our devices in our pockets that we can go shopping, order things, talk to people, uh, video chat through our phones, and I think with that, oh, I forgot what I was
But
trying to say.
no, but no, but do you feel like people are handing, like we want things handed to us, or
Oh yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
thing, but are some of the things we want handed to us, like through the government and stuff, are they are they achievable? Like, is it because we want a better life for everyone, or is it just because we assume like we deserve it because we're alive?
Well, I mean, I think that people are wanting to receive things for free is because we're a big country. There's not that much to go around. However, the only way to survive is by contributing to it. But if we're overpopulated in our own country, it's going to be hard to be able to give like medical care or dental care, anything, because we are running out of resources, and only the people who are able to provide what is needed to achieve those those luxuries, pretty much.
So we're a lot of the problem right now is, with everyone getting triggered, and then the people who did the triggering,
Mhm.
are pointing the finger at the people getting triggered. So there's not a lot of dialogue going
No.
back and forth. So one, how do we fix this concept of a safe space to actually like make it, less controversial? Like
Mhm.
we,
What I think is that we just need to start try to implement it with our generation right now, but also start implementing in our younger generation. Like try to let them actually take risk in life, not guide them to go like you don't have to go from point A to point B. You can tell them like you have free range of doing what you want with your life, obviously within like a few limitations of like obeying the law, this and that. But we just need to let people decide what they want to do, but also maintain them in a course that won't lead us into complete anarchy or to complete chaos.
isn't that kind of a problem we're having right now? Because
Yeah, it
the
is.
amount
'Cause,
of like people who are like, okay, I'm gonna go be a liberal arts student.
mm,
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, no one wants to, we're a bunch of dreamers for like,
mm.
but like we need people solving the problems.
I mean, it all trying to go back to like the past always judging us is that they were actually trying to survive. They were trying to get a home for them, have a place to live. However, they
But we
already
still
have
have
it.
to do that too.
We have to do it, but we're taking it for granted because we have a place to stay. We can get a job. We live in an area that we can get a job.
Well, that's not even. I'm just talking about like overall in the U.S. Like there, these safe spaces. Like I have one at my school. Like you walk into our student lounge and it's a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh,
So this is
I
it,
feel
yeah.
no different.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, like we were talking about earlier, off camera. It was like about going to different classrooms, and they're saying this is a safe space. Every classroom has this a little sign like near the door saying that this is a safe space. This is where you're able to speak out and just say your opinion. But there's still people who won't raise their hands, who won't talk about it because they're still in fear of being judged of their ideas. So we need to figure out a way to actually show, like the teachers should be the ones to show interest in all of the opinions of their students to actually make it a safe space, so that every hand can actually go up, and they would try to contribute to the discussion in their class.
that is true because I'm gonna give you an example. In high school, I remember I don't know if it was my freshman year or my sophomore year, but
Mhm.
we had a conversation. And, the room's a safe space.
Right.
We had a conversation on the N word, and I'm the only black kid in the room,
Yeah, there were
probably in the school. Like,
yeah.
I mean, and they're all having this long conversation whether you
Mhm.
should use it, who
Mhm.
should use it, blah blah blah. And everyone's voicing a lot of people are voicing their opinions, but like
Mhm.
I'm sitting there like this,
This is kind of awkward. Like, what
if
can I
I say
say?
something here, everyone's gonna immediately form an opinion
Right.
because you know I was representing at the time.
Right. Of
So
course.
yeah, so it's not even so. Despite it being a safe space where there's no judgment, I knew if I spoke, whatever I said was leaving the classroom.
Yeah,
You know.
that's true. Because I mean, there was a fear that you had. You're like, oh, if I voice an opinion, they're gonna probably twist it or even take it too literal, and they may try to be something that society, or not society, but that some people want them to view them as, like, oh, I don't want to be viewed as racist, or
Yeah.
I don't want to be viewed as treating other people bad. So they try to just blend in, try to pick up these ideas and kind of become what society wants them to be rather than being who they want to be.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that's going on. That's which is going back to safe space, because people are just trying to mask themselves behind this idea of being the perfect citizen, being the perfect, I'm not racist, I'm not this. They try to defend every side, every angle possible so they don't look bad. And we just need to stop doing that. We need to actually just find who we are as a person and stick to our own values rather than values that lead to violence, leads to unnecessary deaths, leads to just hatred towards everybody.
So you're saying a safe space, in a way, kind of looks like this,
Yeah,
like
pretty
just
much.
a place where anyone can say anything,
Where there's an actual conversation between two people.
but on who could be on different sides
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
obviously, yeah, of course. There has to be room for people to feel wrong, to feel like, oh, maybe if I think about it this way, I can probably
So
convince
it's
the
okay
other
to be
person.
triggered.
It is
Like,
okay,
even
but
in
if
a
it's
safe space.
if it's in like an actual safe space, like where we are in a building right now, talking about our opinions, not getting mad at each other, not going at each other's throat. We're actually having a conversation about a certain topic.
So even in a safe space, you feel like it should be okay for us to possibly, say something that might offend the other,
Yeah.
but in a way that, on the streets, like you would be offended, but like here is like, this is how this is how I feel or perceive things, blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
And even if you are like hurt or offended, I feel like even in a
But they
in-
have a right to kind of just talk to the person.
Yeah,
Talk
like-
to the person and kind of figure out why that's what they think. And with that, that's where you start the conversation. Start the conversation being like, oh, like, give me your opinion, this and that. And they're in a tone of voice that doesn't escalate, that doesn't lead to hatred towards each other, hatred towards like bigger to the group or something like that.
That's kind of the problem, like, of the two political parties we have right now.
Yeah, and they're more immature than us two right here. Like we're actually being able
Yep.
to talk. We're actually able to talk and not go like behind each other back and talk about different things, or even go on social media, like, which is also is a factor of it. It's
Oh,
just spreading out
100%.
more fake ideas, more incorrect studies,
if
incorrect
you just
things.
go through, like, even the comments on, a Facebook post, you can always find someone who got, like, a little hurt by it.
Yeah, there's
whatever.
only one person trying to just troll people.
Yeah.
Like you even see
But
like
it
those,
works, though. That's the thing. And
Yeah,
like,
it works because those people aren't able to realize that there are people just trying to trigger other people.
yeah, and like I remember, I believe Robin Williams once tweeted something about a woman, and
Yeah.
he had to
I've
take
heard
it
about
down, even though in the reality, he meant nothing wrong, and he called her like beautiful before smart, and everyone got super offended.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with this picture that's popped up. It was like, it was just a girl like with this like very seductive with the dress showing off her cleavage, stuff like that. Just this transformation to this girl who who, picked up a book, she was like, she was flat chested or this and that. And there was a lot of outrage on that. They were saying, oh, so only hot women's are like blondes, nuns, this and that, while the studious ones are brunette, have glasses, and don't have a sexy body. But like the artist was just trying to portray, it's like, this is what we're doing, This is what we're pretty much creating. We're creating people to think that if they want to be beautiful, want to be, sexy, they have to not be educated. But that's not the point. What we need to do is value education, value women who are educated.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Cesar.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me on
find
the
us
show.
at the KTG forum on Facebook and YouTube. Same thing.